Whether I mentioned it in sermon topics or other times, there have been a number of occasions within this congregation where friendships were started or strengthened, tested or challenged, deepened or released. On the first Sunday of the month, as we look back, Celebration Sunday, we recognize as a practice of ours in this congregation, we celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, all the good that is happening in our life, what we call our human existence. 2 weeks ago, there was a brunch where the board and I got to meet the individuals who were deciding or had decided to become members of the church. And then last Sunday, those individuals stood up here and declared themselves to be part of this spiritual community. And many of you, or all of you, who were there here that day, affirmed with a powerful yes. You welcome them. And today, we get to revisit those occurrences through our memories. Perhaps you've been thinking about someone you would like to bring along to one of these services, or forward an email with a link to an audio file or one of our YouTube video presentations. Being in friendship gives us the opportunity on the human level to connect, to be part of community, and to recognize the oneness of the divine creation of life. When you cherish your spiritual journey, as I cherish this divine path, there's a tendency to let other people know about it. Through that reaching out in love and friendship to someone new, we are reminded of that part of ourselves where at one time we were a first-time guest. Maybe we felt a little unsure about all this hugging stuff. Or why everyone is so happy to be at church. Or maybe sometimes you feel challenged by the terminology used in these talks, or what you read or hear in classes, or when you're conversing with a practitioner or another congregant. It's somewhere deep down, I hope you feel welcomed and connected and loved in this group. I hope that, like me, you feel that this type of church, this religious science, finally makes sense to your soul, and you have a feeling of coming home to a place deep within you that is safe and peaceful and uplifting. That deep place has always been there, will always be there, within you, waiting for you to discover it to the depths of your awareness and understanding. The God qualities I talk about here on Sunday and in every class have always been a part of you as well, waiting for your awareness to unleash them and let them express in the world as who you are, a gift to the world. And that's where I'm going today in this talk. Hopefully to bring more awareness to the value and importance of allowing your authentic nature to guide you, to express through you, to be the God you, which is greater than any definition of what might come to mind about who you are in the human realm. So what is your authentic nature? Ernest Holmes wrote this paragraph on the first page of the Science of Mind textbook, and it helps to set the tone for today's topic. We see abundance in the universe. We cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth contains untold riches, and the very air is vibrant with power. Why then is man weak, poor, and afraid? The Science of Mind deals with these questions. The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this. The truth points to freedom under law. Thus, the inherent nature of man is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. We do well to listen to this inner voice. For it tells us of a life wonderful in its scope, a love beyond our fondest dreams, of a freedom which the soul craves. Now, since many of us, from what you've told me through the years, since many of us come from Christian-based or Bible-based religions in the past, there's something else that you might be interested in that relates to what Holmes said. You might even be familiar with it. It's recorded in Matthew, chapters 5 and 6, and I'm not going to read all the verses. But Jesus was on a mountain with his disciples, trying to get a break from the multitudes that were following him around. He had just sat down with the disciples. He had listed the Beatitudes, the list of ways he declared we could be blessed, recommendations of beingness, for which he also provided the result. If we followed them, what would happen? For example, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And so forth. There's 8 or 9 of them. Jesus goes on to provide other guidance and suggestions for behavior in this dialogue he's having with his disciples. He then gives his followers, his disciples, what we've come to know as the Lord's Prayer. He made strong suggestions about how to pray, how to tithe, how to behave, how to interpret what other people are doing, and to stop worrying so much about everybody else. Focus on what you need to do for yourself to have that strong God connection. It's written in Matthew 5, verse 22, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. I love that. It also talks about if you focus on darkness, then the light that is in you will be darkness, a great darkness. Jesus talks about not being able to serve 2 masters, that you can't serve God and mammon, which translates to material wealth or greed. Only one can have a priority in your mind, and Jesus gives us a hint as to which one that should be. When he goes on to say, and here's the part that relates back to what Holmes wrote, when he talked about all the abundance in the universe, and how we get all worried and fearful about being poor, Jesus said, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment or clothes? Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them, and are ye not much better than they? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? For your heavenly Father, Spirit, God, knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and the righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So here's my interpretation of these passages and how they fit into our authentic nature. First, Holmes tells us that the inherent nature of man is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. We do well to listen to this inner voice, for it tells us of a life wonderful in scope. Do you hear that? Wonderful in scope. And of a love beyond our fondest dreams, and of a freedom that our soul craves. Compare this to centuries before, when Jesus taught that we don't worry about what to eat or drink or wear. That it's all taken care of. In other words, don't focus so much on the getting of stuff, the greed, the attachments, the obsessions, and all that. Pray about your life. Set your intentions. Do what needs to be done, yes, and stay focused on your God life. Let everyone else focus on creating their lives. Do your part in the creation process in this physical world and seek the kingdom, the understanding of God. Heaven is within. Seek to understand the way creation works, the way the universal mind and law works without fail, as God expressing through you. Life does not need to be hard or difficult. That's a belief provided by past generations of people and handed down. Lose that belief. Find a new one. If the creative force of life can take care of the birds and the flowers, and they're considered more splendid than a king in all his glory, if this divine mind has got that well in hand, and life is flowing for the lily, certainly the same all-knowing presence can take care of whatever you, as a human being and child of God, can dream up. If you but listen to that inner voice, that God's self, if you have faith, if you ask, believe, and receive, if you follow your authentic nature, your God self, intuition, the soul within, you were made in the likeness of God. You're advised to have faith, to set your intentions in private. Jesus said, keep your words secret, meaning that until you get clear about what you want, keep it to yourself. So you can get clarity about your own vision and plans, so you can work it out on your own, in your own mind, what you declare for your life, what's important for expressing your gifts in the world, what your purpose is. You have to know first, don't you? Keep the ideas private so you can first believe that they're even possible. You've got all that to go through first. You don't need to have people around planting seeds of doubt in your mind. Keep your thoughts and words to yourself, or only share with those you know will support you, who are of like mind, and then pray or commune with the mind of God. Stay connected to what Jesus called the Father, which art in heaven, the divine presence or spirit within your very being, and expand the vision of what you call your life. That eternal presence knows what you desire. The law, the creative medium, is just waiting for the signal to move forward in action on your behalf. Focus on the light, the good, the love that shines forth from you and as you, and it will dispel all darkness. Stop jumping back and forth, one time turning it over to God, trusting that universal presence, and then thinking, you can make it happen by yourself. Thank you very much. You can do it better than God. Really? Stop disconnecting yourself from that loving energy and power. You can't get very far. You won't get very far if you try to serve both your human willpower and God. One must take priority and offers a better rate of success. You have the freedom to choose which one. So what do you want? This past week has been a crazy busy, exciting week in the church office, as some of you know. There are a lot of fun projects going on, in addition to the regular stuff. And then midway through last week, my husband reminds me that he is going on a retreat this weekend. And he had made plans for it several weeks ago, which then also reminded me that I had promised to fill in for him on Saturday to teach the Psalm 101 class. An opportunity I was really looking forward to doing. My authentic nature is one of love and service. My human nature nature is to share and teach. That's a great combination. I felt called to be in this class, no matter what else was going on. And as I mentioned, there was a lot. At the same time, I was trying to figure out how all the pieces of my week were going to work to fit together and in the schedule toward the Sunday timeline. When he reminded me about the Saturday class, I suddenly remembered there were two other things I had intentions of doing on Saturday. One was to go to a luncheon in Aurora, but it was kind of iffy because that's when I'm writing my sermon and getting a lot of things staged anyway, so I wasn't sure I was going to go to that. The second one was personal to me, was secret to me, and I had not really said too much about it to anyone, including my husband, until he reminded me about Saturday. You see, for months, every time I looked out my kitchen window, off in the distance, across the highway and nestled against the foothills of the valley, the other side of the valley, a building was being born. For months, I had watched this building, the new field house in Castle Rock, as it started coming into form. I read the newspaper articles. I saw the Facebook postings. And I cast my vote for what it should be called. And my selection was the winner. It's the MAC, the Miller Activity Center. I even drove by it a couple of times when it was under construction during the summer, as it was standing tall on its foundation. And now it was done. And on Saturday, yesterday, there was to be a grand opening where everyone could come and see it, tour the building, walk the grounds. It was a free day for everyone to be there. I had promised myself weeks ago I was going. I had created an attachment to this building in my mind, and I wanted to see it no matter what else was going on. As this week wore on, piled high with to-do lists, and then the reminder about the Saturday class, I was concerned about the timing of my little excursion. Would I really be able to do it? After all these months of anticipating and waiting and watching it grow across the valley, would everything else come first in front of this intention? So I did what I could. I focused on my tasks throughout the week, getting each thing done, first things first. I worked longer days, earlier hours, and even got ahead on a couple of projects. It felt very rewarding. By Thursday night, I realized and decided I'm not going to do the lunch in Aurora. I can meet up with that person at another time. By Saturday morning, I'm ready for class. I get there a few minutes early, barely. And it's a wonderful experience. I stayed to talk with a couple of the students after the class, and then headed home, wondering how I was going to manage the MAC tour, or if I could do it at all. And when I thought about that possibility, about not going there after all of the anticipation, I felt sad, deep inside. You see, another part of my authentic nature, which I have ignored most of my life, is connection. Being part of something bigger than me. That's why I love the spiritual community. And have done so for 11 years. How many of you have been here almost the whole time? Yeah. We're old friends. That's how I feel about Castle Rock too, where I've called home for 18 years. So just like I come to church every week, even if it's my day off, I wanted to go to the field house to experience the connection of community, my hometown. I didn't know it was such a big deal for me. Another part of my authentic nature is curiosity. having different experiences. I'm so excited that the MAC is going to install a zip line coming up this fall. I can't wait to get there. So I leave the class, I drive home from Parker, I have a late breakfast, and I'm not ready to write this sermon. All I could think about was going to the field house. And I knew inside, based on the way my human mind works, that if I didn't at least try to go over there, I wouldn't be able to concentrate on writing. My soul self would be too disappointed in my human self for not at least making the attempt, for not putting forth some type of action toward an intention I've been carrying around most of the year. Now this was a major event in town. The trolley was moving. It was going back and forth from the fairgrounds to the field house, giving people rides to avoid the congestion of the parking lot. There were even electronic signs along the roadway encouraging you to go park at the county fairgrounds and take the trolley. And I thought for a split second that might be fun to take the trolley and go back and forth. But when I got to the intersection, Douglas County Fairgrounds, field house, I turned right. And I decided that, if this was going to work, then I'm going to go and I'm going to drive myself. And given my timeline, I would be in control of my time. I still had lots to get done. So I set another intention in that microsecond of decision. I made an agreement with myself, with my soul self, and I prayed. I told myself that we would drive up to the field house. And if it's God's will for me, the highest good for me, to tour the facility, then it would be easy. There would be a parking space for my big SUV. I don't know if you know that I drive a Suburban, so it's really... I would be in and out at my own pace, and it would be fun. If the universe, life, divine creation could put together galaxies and planets and human bodies, then certainly this idea I had was no big deal. Spirit doesn't know size anyway, big or small. And the law just says yes to our committed and loving requests. And this is what I want deeply right now. So we, my soul and ego, drove up the hill west of Castle Rock. There was no one in front of me. First at the stoplight, no traffic in front of me, until I got to the street to turn off and turn into the park complex. Police cars and officers were all around directing traffic and blocking places where you weren't supposed to go. Cars were coming out of the property and cars were going in. So I got in the traffic line with everyone else like ducks in a row. We followed along the route laid out before us. And the car in front of me was waved through this one parking lot intersection, and the policeman told me to stop so this other car could make a left turn to leave. And then rather than signaling me to go forward, he directed me to go into that parking lot. And then there were other parking lot attendants that kept directing me. And the direction was closer and closer to the field house. So by the time the parking lot space for this big SUV, it was in the first row nearest to the field house. So I locked up the car, walked down the dirt embankment, and went in. I started the tour all by myself. I went from room to room, picked up brochures, saw some friends. We chatted and talked. Watched the kids, hundreds, going crazy in all the activities. And within 30 minutes, I'd seen all I came to see. I got back in my truck, plenty of space to turn around, and I went on my way. Easy and fun. Everyone I spoke to that day during that experience, everyone that talked with me was friendly. We're laughing, having a good time. Weather was beautiful and perfect. It was easy and graceful, and my soul was happy. My curiosity was satisfied. As I stood in the middle of one of the indoor soccer fields where they were doing games and crafts, surrounded by hundreds of children and adults, that connection part of me was totally fulfilled. This is my community. I felt joy and love, and my mind chatter stopped talking, and my God self was served. Everything I desired in that moment had been created just the way I had envisioned it, easily, gracefully, and fun. I saw the synchronicity throughout the entire experience, and it made me smile. It wasn't about me making things happen. It wasn't about forcing anything or having a certain attachment about how it should be. It's about allowing. It's about doing my part. My biggest chore was to drive the truck. And believing that if this experience is for my highest good, then the universe will deliver. And it did, and it always does, according to our beliefs. It's not complicated, and it's only difficult or painful as we make it to be in our minds and then in the world. Bondage is not God-ordained. Suffering is optional. This experience is just one of many lately that continue to unfold with ease and grace and joy and harmony and love and abundance. This is what authentic nature is all about, for me and for you, for everyone. It's working in unison with divine mind, rather than just our human mind. It's being in partnership with God. It's being open to an opportunity for your personal life, for this church, for your loved ones, and for the world. It's noticing when ideas present themselves to us and then doing our part to choose which ones we want to create. It's focusing on what we can do rather than complaining about what's missing. A final word from Holmes. Mankind is made out of and from life. As effect must partake of the nature of its cause, so man must partake of the divine nature from which he springs. We did not create our divine nature. We cannot change its inherent reality. We are what we are, and we use this divine nature for better or for worse. Surely if God or universal intelligence is imbued with goodness, then it could not ordain that man should ultimately be other than a perfect expression of life. You are a perfect expression of life. Your authentic nature is creative and unlimited in its capability, in its possibilities. It's up to you what and how much of those qualities, your God nature, you decide to share with the world as you. Don't hold back. Set your soul free and really be all you can be. Be your own best friend. Start with love and start right now. Let's have a prayer.